Okay, this video is going to be about how to lock in criteria on a role level. And there's several reasons why you would like to do this. Number one, if you want to enforce the criteria options on a role level, let's say that you want to assign a role to a salesperson or to someone that's in charge of an SLA, like we'll see in this video here, and you don't want them to be able to change the options. So you want to be able to set those options, set them on the role level so that they're already pre-configured for them when you assign that role to that user. And then, of course, for each individual criteria, you can choose whether or not the people that have that role assigned to them are allowed to override that criteria. So you can lock it in. So let's say a salesperson can only see their deals, or the SLA that you set as an executive or manager can't be changed by the user or department that you're measuring against. So, all right, here, let's get started. So here you can tell I'm logged in as a client administrator in our demonstration account, and I'm going to come over here to access roles. So here we've got 13 roles that are already assigned, and I don't believe we've got one. We do. We've got one already set up for SLA abstracting. So here, this is what we call a micro role. I'm going to click on this, and what you'll be able to see is we've assigned it to one user, Pam. She's the title manager, and there's only a total of 4 reports. So there's 2 visualizations that you'll see on the dashboard, and then each of these visualizations links to a drill down or the detailed report, the Excel style file level report. And so this is a micro role. This is something that would be used just for tracking turnaround times and service levels for how quickly you're getting back your abstract work. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here and we're going to update this role to have different values. So quickly close this again. Again, you'd come over here, left-hand sidebar, click Access Role, and then you'd come to the role that you'd like, or you could set up a new one if you'd like. Here we're going to adjust existing values. I'm going to click SLA Abstracting Role. I'm going to click Update Role here. That's going to bring us to a screen here where we can see we're going to go through a series of 5 steps. We don't really need to do anything for the first 3. We're just going to click through them unless you want to change the name or description. You can add additional users to this role if you'd like, but this is fine for us for now. And here under report selection, we have a slider, a little iPhone slider here, so you can see only the ones that are assigned. As you can see, this means that it's actually assigned to the role. If we were to flip back, none of these are actually assigned, only the ones that are marked. But we don't want to assign anything else. We just want to adjust some of the criteria. So here, step 4, standard criteria. This is where you're going to make some adjustments this step and the next step. So standard criteria are going to be the criteria options that you choose here that are then going to get applied to all the reports that are assigned to this role, in this case 4 of them. And you'll see that in the next step, that whatever you choose here is going to carry over. So let's say here that right now we've got a date range of this year. That's not going to work. We're going to want to track, let's say, something on a weekly basis. So we're going to say this week, we care about the abstracts this week, or you know what, let's say this month. And we do want the users of this that have this role assigned to be able to change this value. So we're going to keep this as yes. I'm going to click lock in here. And then let's say here that we want to come in here. We've got SLA start action. So this is going to be when or any kind of SLA or turn time reports, this is going to be when we start the clock. So order entry complete would be the action that exists. That once that action is completed, we're going to start the clock and we're going to measure it against an SLA. Here we've got 4 business days. We're going to change that in a second. And then the end action here is going to be when the clock stops. So we're looking for this to be started, this to be completed or not yet completed, depending on if we're looking at the scorecard or the files in progress. So in this case, let's say commitment sent. That's fine. Notice that we allow the user to override the selected value is no. We do not want the people that we're going to assign this role to be able to change reservoir office, start or stop actions. They can change the date range, as you can see. And then we're going to scroll down here and we're going to say the SLA business days. And what the SLA business days is it's essentially the benchmark or the metric. This is the turn time that you expect between this action and this action. So from the time that you actually input the order until the time you actually send out the commitment, let's say instead of 4 days, we want to change that to 2 days. I'm going to change that to 2. Notice that here, allow the user to override this value? No. So it's going to show a lock, a padlock. Lock that in. So now I've changed a total of 2 standard criteria on this screen on step 4. Changed the date range that shows this month. And then down here, I've changed the benchmark. I've set it at 2 days. And I do not want the users to be able to mess with this. But they can change the date range up here. Okay, now we're going to scroll down to the bottom and click Complete Standard Criteria Step. That's going to take 30 to 60 seconds or faster, depending on how many reports. And as you can see now, we're in step 5, this updating of the role. And we've got 2 common sets here. And what common sets are essentially just a grouping of reports. Here you go. In this case is visualization. This is the scorecard. This is what's happened in the past. And then the file level of that. But the common set is just a grouping of reports that have the same number and the same exact criteria options. So as you can see from the previous screen, SLA start action, that carried over. Same thing with the end action. It cannot be overridden. We did have an end complete date, so that carried over to this month. But since these are completed files only, this is a scorecard. We're gonna want to change this to last month or whatever time frame you find suitable. And we do want them to be able to override that. So these reports here are going to be what the executive, the operations manager, the manager, measures. This is the scorecard. These 2 are the scorecard that they use to measure that employee or that department as far as what percentage of time did this department or person meet the metric that we laid out. And we'll scroll down a little further and see the metric SLA business days that we chose in step 4. Up here, standard criteria, it was carried over. And notice also it cannot be overridden. So this looks good to us. We're going to go ahead and click lock in. And then now we're in common set 2. Let's take a look and see what reports are assigned to common set 2. So these are going to be the files that are in progress. This is going to be the reports that you're going to want your production staff to look at. The files that, the orders entry has been completed, but the commitment has not yet been sent. And so that's going to have the visualization there, or a pie chart of what's in SLA, near SLA, and out of SLA. And that's going to have a detailed report here. We're going to click continue. You notice that everything else is the same. And then we've got 2 additional ones, and you'll see the criteria type is report specific. This is already locked in. They weren't carried over because they're report specific. The only thing that gets carried over is standard criteria. But here we've already previously locked them in, and these are going to be fine. And we can explain what these do in a different video when we have a little more time. But notice that the SLA business days changed from 4 to 2. That carried over. Now the near ending of SLA business days is something that you want. Maybe you want your people to be notified before it goes out of SLA. And if you remember, previously we had SLA business days at 4 and we changed it to 2. So we're going to want to change this report specific criteria down to 1 or whatever else, something that's below 2. Here I'm going to change it 1. Lock in criteria there. I do not want them to be able to change it. Correct. And then we're going to list some different file statuses. So we want the file to be open or maybe in a trouble status, and that's fine. And we want them to be able to change that. They can see different things. And everything looks great there, so we're going to lock in this default value. And I've gone a little slower and explained some more things in this. This really only takes a few seconds to change or update once you've done it once or twice. But hopefully, by giving you a little more background in this video, it helps your understanding. If of course, you can always reach out to us if you have questions. But now we have green check marks here. That's good. Last step, updating the role. We're going to click Complete Criteria Lock-in. And that's it. Okay. So now, for whatever users are assigned to that role, I believe it was Pam. Click Pam and see what roles she has assigned. And she has SLA abstracting. So if we were to log in as Pam, we would see that, that those criteria values were automatically applied on the dashboard, and she would be good to go for those updated values that we just chose. And that is how easy it is to either lock in or update criteria on a role level, and why you'd want to do so. Hope this video helped. If you've got any questions, by all means, check our user documentation site, docs.opsinsights.com. Feel free to email us at support@opsinsights.com, or if telephone works for you, reach out to us at 803-712-3278, extension 2 for support. We hope you have a great day, and thank you for being an Ops Insights client.